Hey everybody, this is Brandon for Brandon's Baseball Cards. I have two special guests tonight. Tony, one of my good hobby buddies from Tony Talks Cards. He and I are both going to be chatting with Kurt Christensen of Ripping Vintage Packs. How are you doing tonight, Tony?
Really good, Brandon. Thank you for staying up and being flexible. We're on different time zones these days, so it's like dinner time, kids' bedtime. It's getting dark outside. The Nationals a week away, so lots of stuff happening probably in our households and prepping. So glad we could squeeze this in here in July before the week of the Nationals. So yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's talk the National. And with that, let's welcome in Kurt Christensen.
Hey
Hey,
guys.
Kurt.
Hey, Kurt.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Good to see you too.
It's been a hot minute.
It has been.
Well, thank you for. You want to go ahead?
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, no, thanks, Kurt. For it's hard to get two people, let alone three people, to kind of be on the same time zone and schedule. And you're going to be a dealer at the National here in Chicago, and have been a dealer before. So thank you for giving us some of your time, pre-prepping, pre-travel, and I'm sure it's a busy week no matter what. The National being coming up, so. But thought we just talk about maybe just unopened packs and maybe how you prep for the National and maybe things you're seeing that are interesting, different, excited to bring to Chicago. Maybe for those folks who don't know on Brandon's or my channel about you and your company, introducing what you do, what RVP is all about, maybe how you got into the business in general, if that'd be okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just start with what everybody's thinking right now is the National is right around the corner. We've all been there. We know how much fun it is. For me, with Ripping Vintage Packs is the definition of a side hobby business. I put all of my prep for the year into this show because I don't do any other shows. It's a lot of work. It's hard to get away from the farm, but I thoroughly enjoy the show. And prep for me, I mean, I've done it enough that I have little increments. I prep year round. If I buy something, is this a good item for the National? This is not. I've been working on this show since I got home from the last show. That's how I've viewed, I think, every National I've done.
Cool. And RVP means, again, Ripping Vintage Packs. And so are you all 100% unopened? I forget how your table may be set up in terms of what you're bringing.
Yeah, so my table will be split with myself, which is all unopened. I have, I'm looking at them right now. I've got my 9 display cases are chuck filled. I've got, it looks like 4 display cases filled with 70s and 80s boxes. And 1, 2, 3, I got 5 display cases filled with the majority of 60s and 70s packs, all unopened. I've got a friend that goes with me. You guys probably met him. The other Brandon, not my buddy Brandon Edmonds. They've got a card shop in Spencer, Iowa, and they always set up with me. And they will have set filler, common, singles, modern, vintage. I mean, they have a whole array of stuff. But yes, me, it is all unopened.
Very good. Now, this may be going back many, many years, but have you always enjoyed collecting and being and dealing in unopened, or is it a kind of recent-ish phenomenon? How'd you get into that?
I've been a card collector for as long as I can remember. The unopened thing sparked my interest probably about 10 years ago. I dabbled in it a little and was just kind of like a lot of us, was just intrigued by, well, why is this item still opened or still unopened? I remember seeing a 1975 Topps Mini wax case at the National. I think this was 2015, something like that. And I had owned some unopened before this. I remember seeing that case. It's like, why is this here? It didn't make any sense. And from about that moment, I just, got into it more and more. I started out collecting a lot of it, gaining some knowledge, and started figuring out what I like and what I don't like the most, and tried to figure out what I could do. I was getting presented at that time 10 years ago. There wasn't a whole lot of people buying quantities of vintage unopened.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just I was being presented a lot of stuff to buy, and it was yeah, I'll buy it, but I didn't, I don't know if I need all of it. So I would buy some of this stuff and keep what I wanted for myself, sell the rest, and that was kind of how I started.
Well, I know you
That,
said 70s and 80s boxes. Those have got to be heavy. I know I know how big those are. 36 packs and 15 cards each. So yeah.
So there's definitely been some chiropractor visits, that's for sure.
so
Yeah.
do you have an item this year that you're bringing that is kind of a holy crap item? I know Baseball Card Exchange advertised they have a case of 1976 Topps King Kong. Do you have anything not necessarily comparable to that, but something that that is going to surprise people? Not to spoiler, but
No, I do not have an item like that. I can't wait to see the King Kong case. I was offered that King Kong case. I know the history of that. That will be fun to see in person. That is a true gem. I've seen some really good pictures of it. I do not have a holy grail type unopened item this year, but I do have several that are very big staples in the 70s. I'll give you some examples. I've got a 76 football wax box, popular with Peyton. I think I've got a 74 Topps baseball wax box. It's been a few years since I've had that. One of the ones I'm very happy to have, and we've all seen several 72 O-Pee-Chee baseball Series 2 wax boxes.
Hmm.
I've seen a lot of those.
Sure.
I have never seen a Series 1 72 O-Pee-Chee baseball wax box. Series 1 does have the Fisk rookie, and I have a Baseball Card Exchange wrap 72 O-Pee-Chee baseball Series 1 wax box. So that is, I'm not, wouldn't put that in, a grail category by any means, but it's definitely a very tough box to find. I'm not, like I said, I don't recall ever seeing another Series 1 box.
that's awesome. So what was the story behind the King Kong case? So you said you're aware of a
Yeah.
little bit of the backstory on that.
Yep. Friend of mine, we all know him. I'm not going to say his name because he might not want to be disclosed, but came across the case last year, offered the case to me with some other stuff, and I kind of purchased some other things, and I believe I made an offer on the case, and wasn't what he was looking for, and he told me he was going to sell it to Baseball Card Exchange, and I said, awesome. So, and I know he was happy with that, but I've seen. I was waiting for it to show up. I wasn't going to pester the BBC crew with what they were going to do to it, but it's a great case. You know me. I love non-sports, and that case definitely had me drooling. That's for sure.
So is there an item, a pack or a card you're looking for there? Like I know you had mentioned Batman Riddler, a Riddler backpack, but I think you bought one of those recently.
I did, and last year I think I talked to you with this, Brandon. I found an O-Pee-Chee 1966 O-Pee-Chee Batman wax pack. I'm not I'm more cellos than wax, but that's a very tough one. I knew enough to know that was tough. There was only like 5 or 6 PSA graded O-Pee-Chee Batman pack, so I grabbed that and was very happy to add that to the collection. I would definitely be looking for something like that may not be on my radar, but know enough. Wow, that's a unique Batman item that I don't have. So that's definitely something I'll be looking for.
Cool.
And talking about that, I mean, you're there as a dealer. You're there for the Wednesday through Sunday time frame. Do you get a chance to walk around and search for your own PC or buy other folks' cards and maybe think about how that works with your business?
Yes, I've streamlined my show. Brandon, I know you've seen me at some of those early shows. I used to show up with a 28-foot trailer, and I used to have, the entire booth, not only my part, but my buddy's part. It was filled with stacks of junk wax, boxes, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And it did really well. I sold all kinds of stuff. But you know what did not happen? I did not get to leave the booth, and it was a lot of work. And part of the reason I do this is because it is truly a hobby to me. I get a lot of enjoyment from it, even though it is a business.
Yeah.
They were not very enjoyable shows. They just weren't. It was just, I didn't get out. I didn't get to talk to people. It was too much. So I've streamlined into I've been taking these 9 display cases, so I think starting in Atlantic City. So for 3 or 4 shows in a row. And what that has allowed me to do is everything has a very visible price tag on it. Everybody can see exactly what I have. And yeah, I get out a lot more. The people I have who help me in the booth can easily sell something because they can see exactly what it is. And so yes, I have done more PC shopping in the last couple of shows, as well as I have small lists for some friends and items that they're looking for. So yes, that has helped me enjoy the show much more.
That's great. Yeah. Is there something that you thought of after the Cleveland show 12 months ago? You thought, I need to bring that to Chicago, or maybe an insight to how you would change or adjust how you bring what you bring, or is it all about the same as a year ago, maybe?
I would say the staples are the same. I never quite know what facet of the unopened market is going to sell the best from show to show. It does vary. So I try to have a spattering of hockey, basketball, baseball, football, non-sports, because I never quite know. As far as trends, I mean, I'm not following anything different than anybody else is. I watch eBay all the time, the auction houses. I would say the 70s, the 80s unopened market compared to a year ago is probably a little hotter. We definitely haven't seen, prices going nuts by any means, but I've seen upticks in about every standard issue in those years. My website sales traffic is more than it was a year ago. I'm bringing similar stuff, but I think there's going to be just a little bit more activity with people wanting some of those items compared to last year. Last year, there was a lot of stuff that went unsold in the unopened market at the Cleveland show. I mean, a lot of stuff, and stuff that I thought was priced very well, and I was surprised some of the stuff wasn't. Even some of the stuff I brought. Last year I sold way more graded packs than I did boxes. I hardly sold a single box last year. And a couple days in the show, I even checked some of, pricings I had. I'm like, yeah, I am. I was, wow, 90% of eBay. And, but I think there's going to be a little more enthusiasm for maybe some of that this year.
Cool.
Well, what do you think about? I saw recently the prospect for Detroit or Atlanta. Do you have a feeling on either one of? Obviously, Detroit would be closer to your neck of the woods.
Detroit is closer to me, though not by a lot.
Sure.
I've been to Detroit a couple times before buying collections. I've never been to Chicago or Atlanta. I should amend that. I've been to the Atlanta airport, but I don't think that counts. The few people I've talked to have inkled that they might vote for Detroit. I'm not set in stone on either one. I'd like to actually look at the venue and look at some of the logistics. It's going to be a trip. Chicago for me is perfect. It's the closest. And the venue is so easy to get. The hotel, Skywalk, everything is just phenomenal. Atlantic City was very tough logistically. Cleveland was somewhere in between. So I haven't had a chance to look at the logistics is what I'm going to want to look at to see, well, where's parking? Where can we stay? How easy can we load and unload? Those things, having done the show several times, those things mean more to me than, okay, it's another 3-hour drive, or it's the ease of the whole week, means a lot to me.
Well, it seems like, and maybe you both agree, the Rosemont location really is ideal. I would be fine if they did it at Rosemont every year, to be honest with you. I know there are people, the West Coast people get upset because it's, but there's always going to be someone who's upset. And to me, putting it at least in the middle of the country in a location where there's tons of hotels. Yeah, you're right next to the airport on the Blue Line.
Yeah, you're spot on. Regardless of where the venue is, people are going to be upset. and people are going to like it. The one thing you guys just mentioned it, Chicago Airport, right there. All of the hotels, right there. Skywalk, restaurants, night stuff, right there. The venue is huge. It's easy to get your stuff in and out. My load in and load out times are so smooth.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That obviously is closer to me, even though 8 hours is still a drive. I just think, logistically, it's just so easy to get in and out and around the facility. I know friends that do the show and just say the same thing. They just, you don't have to leave. Everything you need is right there.
Yeah, I've only ever been to the Chicago National, but I've heard stories about Cleveland, Atlantic City, other places too. But for me, I live in Arizona, so I'm flying no matter where I'm going. Nothing's on the West Coast right now, but to fly into O'Hare, you take a cab, a bus to your hotel, back and forth. It goes right back to the airport. You're right there. I mean, you're not taking cars lots of places. I like it. Yeah, it's good for me in Arizona at least too.
So what do you think about, like, what is your typical setup process like? What day do you get there, and how long does it take you to get into the facility and set up? I've always wondered that. How long does that take to get? Because it's such a big space.
Yep. So I don't know how many total dealers there are. There's a couple thousand booths. You know, obviously I have 2 booths and I'm one dealer. But there's a couple thousand booths. You're split up alphabetical or numerical order through the booths through different entry gates and different time allotments to get in. One thing that some people don't know is there's early setup on Tuesday. You are not required to be there on Tuesday. You have to pay a fee if it's $100, $150 for early setup on Tuesday, which I do and most people do. Setup time for me, so I'm leaving Monday morning. I'll get down there Monday afternoon, probably get my badge, ticket, and stuff. Other shows in the past, Cleveland last year was a 16-hour drive for me. I think my friend Wayne and me left 4 a.m. and we drove the whole way. Atlantic City, that was like a 22, 23-hour drive. That one we left on Sunday, did a 2-day drive there. But for Chicago, I kid you not, my setup is so simple. I have to help my buddy Brandon a little more, but I can fit all of my 9 display cases in the back of my Yukon. My buddy Wayne that rides with me has a couple display cases in some monster boxes. My setup, I carry a cart with me. I make 2 trips with the cart, set the stuff on the table, and I'm done. Like, I have my display cases right now. Everything is priced. It's all in order. I'm done. So it's, and then I basically walk around all Tuesday and look at stuff. So that is something. And when I first started, it was a disaster. I mean, I scrambled trip after trip from the trailer. Well, where are we going to put this? How are we going to fit this? And it was just, oh my God, it was so much work.
That's good to hear. Yeah. Is there a chance, I guess you talk about wax not growing on trees. It doesn't just kind of grow. It's been there, it's sitting in people's garages, houses, whatever the case is. Do you still find people are closely coming to you? Do you find if you go to other people, how does that kind of come to you in terms of deals?
I would say if the percentage probably hasn't changed for me, and I'd say it hasn't changed in the last 5 years, where probably 75% of what I buy, I'm reaching out to people and making contacts and asking, hey, what can we do here? Can we do this? I do get approached for stuff. And typically when I get approached for things, even if they're items I don't like, I always buy them if we can agree on price, because to me, that's a way to keep having somebody come back to you. But a lot of it is contacts, people that we know, might have something, or contacts that you bought from things before. And I'll check back in with the guy. I haven't, touched base with him for 12, 18 months. Hey, how you doing? You got anything else you're looking at selling? stuff like that. I've bought some very large trailer load deals, 50, 60, 70 cases at a time. There's a lot of luck that goes into those things. That stuff does not happen very often. There's a lot of word of mouth. I've got somebody in Minneapolis. I was just on the phone with today. They text me first, and somebody they knew me and told this guy, you should get in touch with Kurt. He's only about 3.5 hours from you, and he'd probably drive up and see you. So that's a lot of it, but most of it is me just reaching out to similar people that I've dealt with in the past.
Yeah.
Well, and wasn't there a one? I forget which national it was. On the way down, didn't you pick up like a 75 Tops mini wax box or something?
Last year, yeah. So that was a deal. Yeah, that was my best drive down pickup I've had. I've got a good one this year too that I'll tell you about. It's not quite as good. I kid you. I mean, some of these things like you just can't predict. I was laying in bed about this time. I was probably still awake because I was jazzed up to go to the national, and somebody texted me. I did not know who they were. It was Sunday. I was leaving Monday, and they said, "Are you interested in some 75 mini wax boxes?" I'm always skeptical with when those things happen. I'm like, okay, show me some pictures. I says, okay, you're looking at selling. He was. I says, where are you located? Because I says, I'm going to be gone for about the next 10 days. And he was somewhere in Illinois. It was literally 2 miles off Interstate 80, which we were driving on to Chicago. And I says, you're not going to believe this, but I says, I am driving through your town tomorrow. And I explained to him what I was doing. And I already had some money that I withdrew from the bank the week. I says, I'll be there between 11 and 12 o'clock. And that was just a fluke. That was a guy I asked him, how did you get my name? And he said, somebody told me to message you.
That's great.
But that was, less than a day before I was leaving. I have a trip planned. It's the same thing. It's in Davenport, Iowa. Friend of mine on the way. I'm picking up a 76 and 77 Tops football wax tray from the guy. So I paid him a few weeks ago and said, just keep them all. I'm driving right through.
Well,
yeah.
that's talking. Now you're talking Tony's language.
Yes, I knew that you're right up your alley.
Crazy. Yeah, that's great. I've never seen. I can't say I know all about the unopened industry. I haven't seen a 76 one in person, or maybe even a picture of it. That's really cool to know that exists out there. Yeah. Do you know now, in terms of buying folk collections like that, random people texting you, calling you, you find you have to do a lot of education on what unopened looks like? Is it really unopened? Do people know enough to know it's real, or do you have to kind of have those discussions sometimes about it may be not fully? Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of, I would say, entry-level knowledge when people are contacting you. Most people who contact you, at least have a frame of mind, as they should if they're trying to sell something. I mean, you have to know something. But yes, to go in depth on items, there's a lot of talking and, trying to explain, It's. I'll use an example in a card world, which more people are in tune with. You can have let's say $1,000 Hank Aaron card, and you can have $1,000 Pee Wee Reese or let's say Robin Roberts, Hall of Famer pitcher, $1,000 Robin Roberts card. Well, probably that Hank Aaron card is going to be a lot easier to sell and a lot more people wanting the Hank Aaron item, even though the Robin Roberts card is worth the same amount of money. And there's a lot of that with unopened where, wow, some products are just really easy to move. Everybody wants them. And there's a lot of unopened that, it might be worth X, but the people interested in it are just a fraction. Or, wow, there's a huge premium difference in this from a sealed case item compared to, well, this 87 Donruss from a sealed case has a small premium, but boy, if you've got a 83 Donruss case, we could be having a more of a premium. There's a lot of that type of stuff. Yes, there's a lot of, we got to talk back and forth. Most people have a general idea, but some of the nuance, there's definitely is some communication involved.
And how often, when you've been told about a deal or when you're pursuing a deal, how often have you come across product that is resealed? Would you say? I mean,
I would say in the 70s market, it's not half, but a third of it. I'm talking individual boxes, individual packs. Usually the kickers, if somebody comes up to you with a bunch of individual packs, that one's over 50% if we're talking 70s. If somebody's got individual boxes, it probably goes down. It's probably less. Funny story on some resealed stuff. We always think that it's the expensive stuff that gets resealed, but I had a local guy a couple years ago that I bought an 87 Topps baseball vending case from. Terrible. And I was going to wrap it. I brought it home, and the top flaps on those should be glued, and I pulled the flaps off, and the original Topps glue stains were there, but it was the paper with cardboard was peeling apart different. Somebody had re-glued the flaps down. Did they probably just do it to hold it together? I mean, they might. That's probably. It's 87 Topps, but that one has bugged me for years. I still think about that. So I think about, what if that was an 83 or an 80 case or something? I mean, it looked perfect. You could, and then you start pulling it apart, and it's like, oh God, this isn't right. That one bugs me on vending cases. That has made me nervous on vending ever since. Wax cases, cello cases, not so much. I mean, because you can always kind of fall back on, well, if it's not technically FASC, the boxes and packs inside probably are still good.
Sure.
But if somebody approaches me with loose packs and they're from the 70s, it's almost always a red flag.
Well, and that's what's so cool about the trays that you mentioned that you're pursuing, is those are the equivalent of they're like a little miniature from a sealed case. Three from a sealed case, 76 Topps football packs, which is but you mentioned earlier the differences in demand. And I think 76 football and 77 are a good example there. 76 is iconic. 77, I think, in my opinion, maybe Tony, I don't know if you agree, it's kind of overlooked sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Walter Payton's second year, of course, I'm always going to shout that one out. Clearly you've got a bunch of other Hall of Famers from the 60s and 70s in that set. Steve Largent is there, some other folks too, but it's beautiful to me. I enjoy the design of it.
Yeah, but I would say if you had not price withstanding, but if you had a 77 football box and a 78 football box and an 81 football box, I mean, people would want the 78 and the 81 before they'd want the 77.
I think that's right.
Price notwithstanding, because the 77 would be more. But if you could just, if money was an issue, well, which box would more people want? I think you're right, Brandon. I don't think they'd take the 77.
And there's enough Cowboy fans out there for the Dorsett year that I think that's what will keep that product. And of course, Joe Montana being who he is.
Some guy named Pete's not too bad. Yeah, Dorsett. Yeah, I like.
Well, there's another one. It's similar. Is 80 Topps football.
That's
no big rookie, but it's loaded with stars and Hall of Famers, and it's relatively cheap for an early 80s product. I mean, that's one that's, but I have a lot of 80 football. It is a very hard sell. Very
Like at 80
hard sell.
baseball with Ricky Henderson, right? It's like counter of like crazy baseball 80, and football's like meh. It's in between a few things. So
That's perfect. Yeah, good example.
now,
Well,
do you have?
no, go ahead, John.
No, say, do you have? Has people have walked up to you at the National in Cleveland and Atlantic City and Chicago? Do you ever notice maybe younger? I mean, do younger people? I'm not young. I'm not old either. I don't think. But I mean, like teenagers, 20-year-olds. Do you see folks in that age coming up and looking at your bag? What is this? What is this stuff here? Or do you mostly got guys like us who want to buy and want to look at that?
It is definitely mostly people like us.
Yeah.
You do get some younger kids. Most of it is, and I'm not surprised, most of the talk from the younger crowd, and it is not that many, but you will get some. It's, wow, this is, too much money to open to find, Joe Montana or whatever. And
yeah.
I don't really say much, but I'm like, don't you guys spend like thousands of dollars on shiny boxes, looking for one? It's the same thing. I have seen more recently with a younger crowd with their dads or their family, and their dads have brought the show because their dads are interested in the rack packs or whatever, and they've tried to show their kids. That I've definitely seen more of, which is cool because we are still a niche in this unopened market. But I would say it's over 75% of my traffic interested in buying something is definitely they're unopened collectors.
They're not going to take it home, rip it, try to find that Jerry Rice. They want to keep it on the shelf and save it and play it.
Yeah. And of the kids and the shiny, new, modern collecting crowd of the people that come and look and ask questions, and some of them do admire the stuff. I don't think there's any, at least now, I don't think there's any intention of buying anything from it. It's just looking. But to me, looking is if you can have appreciation for something at that age, even if it's not interested in buying, you appreciation to me is where you start. Maybe as you get older, hey, let's dabble here or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you definitely brought up something important, and that's still unopened is still niche, and I feel that walking around because your booth is one of maybe 5 or 6 that I spend any real time at. I feel kind of like on an island when I go. I love, obviously it's the most amazing experience if you love cards to go to the National, but as an unopened, I'm exclusively unopened now, and I'm like I do feel a little bit on an island while my brother is looking at cards. But I don't know if Tony, are you looking for some slabs? Are either of you looking for slabbed cards or anything like that?
I'm getting into like baseball, vintage baseball, but also unopened too. Unopened is my core of what I would just if I had to pick one card, baseball, unopened football, it's going open football the whole time. I want to like dive into that, price being the same, right? Everything being equal. So there's a few things I look for. I'm looking for Walter Payton packs, Payton on top of some packs, 81, 80, into the 70s, but that gets pretty pricey there too. Even and when I collected in 85 through 89. That was my kind of childhood collecting. So rack packs with even random Bears players on the late 80s. So it's kind of like takes it home to me, like my memories, watching the games, buying the cards at local card shops and human packs that I would then open when I was 7 years old. But now I'm not. I want to save them, right? So that's kind of my own open. I'll kind of keep an eye out for that stuff in Chicago or anywhere I look for it. But that's kind of my focus right now for unopened at least. Yeah.
Cool.
I do, Brandon, believe it or not. I do buy, don't tell anybody. I do buy some slab cards, very few. I'm very picky. But I will wander out looking for, no surprises, the Twins players that I, liked as a kid. If I can find, I'm still looking like 84, we'll talk unopened with my slabs. 84 Donruss. I love 84 Donruss, but Greg Gagne, Twins legend. That's it. He was only a Twins legend. His rookie, he's a rated rookie in 84 Donruss, and it's a very low pop card in a 10. That's a card that I always keep an eye open for. Can I find a slab PSA 10 84 Donruss Greg Gagne? I'd probably buy it. I've never seen one at a National. Some Joe Mauer cards. I think a couple years ago I bought an 86 O-Pee-Chee Kent Herbeck PSA 10 at the National. So those are some slabs of things that I do buy that I do look at.
And were you the one that you told me you bought a Puckett Leaf 10?
Yes.
That's a heck of a find. That was at the National as well?
That was probably, we're testing my memory. I mean, probably 2017, 2018. It was before COVID. So that was several years ago.
That's cool. That's really cool. If either of you see and this is a total unicorn, but I see them come up.
Other, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. If either of you see I don't care, the player showing a Red Man tobacco pack with the baseball player from 52 to 50. It was either 52 to 55 or 53 to 55.
I had Brandon. This was it's no longer with me. It was before COVID. I had a 53 Red Man pack with Yogi Berra on showing.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
that is one I've been a bidder with auction houses, and it doesn't matter who the player is. I fall asleep, or I just get outbid, or I get overpriced. I'm like, I just want to find one that doesn't look like crap. There's one on eBay right now that has Junior Gilliam on it, but it looks like it has been through a meat grinder. And I'm just like, if I want to get one, I want a pretty one, but I just don't know if I'm going to find one, but we will see.
What else are you looking to buy, Brandon, or what are you looking for on an open wise?
Well, I'm actually trying to get into this. Will make Kurt, I don't know if it'll make him happy, or I'm not really competition because I'm not interested in the cellos, but Batman wax packs. So the repeating Bat logo. Because I'm just starting out with that, I probably just blue Bat or red Bat just because they're a little less expensive, and I just love the wrapper. Something like that would be awesome. Other non-sport, maybe a James Bond rack pack or a Civil War News rack pack.
Oh, cool.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm actually thinking a little bit more non-sport than in the past. I don't know why. Just something different from baseball.
I know I've mentioned to you before, Brandon, and I still feel this way. I'm probably a little biased, so I'll reach my bias out there. But I still think if we're talking scarcity levels across the unopened market and availability, a lot of that non-sport stuff from the late 50s, 60s, early 70s, like if you have something that is a genre that interests you, whether it be Batman, Superman, James Bond, the Civil War stuff, Robin Hood, the list goes on, Brady Bunch, Gilligan's Island, all the shows, Addams Family, it's all that. Your options are very limited. Most of those years, they were only produced 1 year. It wasn't like Topps Baseball where every single year, like if you want an Addams Family pack, well, it was made 1 year. I still think that stuff, for the scarcity and how commercially popular some of that stuff was, is just very undervalued because there's just not many choices to getting that stuff.
Yeah. No, and the artwork is just insane on some of this stuff. The wax pack art, you cannot beat the Batman wax packs. Like you just can't, in my opinion. I just, to me, it is undervalued and underappreciated, and it is even more niche. But yeah, the Addams Family, I think that a single pack of that is thousands of dollars, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're talking.
I'm glad you brought that up. One of my bigger items, I will have a full box of 1965 Philadelphia James Bond wax box.
Wow. So, what's the price on that? I have to ask. If you remember.
Yeah, was it? I don't think it was 20 grand, but I think I was close. 19,000. I'm just not staring at it over there.
Yeah.
That is so Philadelphia made James Bond in 64 and 65 or 65. I think they made it 65 and 66. And I have 66. I had the second year, so I think I said that wrong. They made it in 65 and 66. I have a 66 Philly James Bond box.
Is that the yellow box?
No, it's the white box.
White box. Cool.
So the yellow packs were the first year they were issued in. There's not a big price difference between them, but typically the yellow pack will sell for a little more because it was the first year they were issued. But I think I've seen more yellow packs available for sale than I've seen white ones.
How'd you come across a box? Was this something that's been in your collection for a long time, or that's a heck of an item?
I've had this one for about a year. This was a national prep item that happened right after last year's show, where I've kept it in the safe for that long. I haven't told anybody I've had it.
No, that's really, really cool. That's exciting to see things like that. Obviously, well beyond my budget. Tony, I'll leave it to you to buy that. But just seeing
$1,000 off on this episode. If you quote this episode at the National, $1,000 off that. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Everybody come up to us and give us $1. Say, hey, Brandon, I see your channel. And then if enough people come up, then maybe I'll be able to
group buy
a pack out of it.
I will trade James Bond box for a Batman box. How about that, Brandon?
Fair enough. A Batman, that would be amazing. And I think was it last year or the year before, a baseball card exchange, they wrapped a 1954 Topps box. Was that for Nat Turner?
They did. I forgot
I remember
about
that. Yeah.
That was incredible. It was, I think it was a GAI box where all 24 packs were the GAI slab, maybe?
They might have been.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, but you are right. Yes, they did. They had 54 Topps baseball box, and it was either Nats or he bought it, one or the other. But somehow he walked out of the show with a BBC wrapped 54 Topps baseball wax box, and I got to look at that box from behind the booth. I was at the booth at the time they were looking at it, and I'm like, is that what I think it is? That is Grail stuff. That's pretty cool.
No, I would need a dribble bib because I'd be salivating. That's just insane. He showed the picture and I was like, of course, someone who's very, very wealthy has this, because this has got to be like someone who has the connection and the means to do this.
But you know what? Part of the National, even me who does not collect a lot of cards, I've got to see a Honus Wagner. I've got to see high grade 52 Manos. I've got to see rare Cobb, backs. The 54 top. You get to see that stuff. Several shows back, I held a Babe Ruth game use bat. Those are things that you just can't do daily. And there's going to be some rare cards, some rare boxes and packs at the show. I probably can't buy whatever that is, but boy, it's pretty cool to look at it.
Yeah. Just the museum quality of it. I just enjoy the sights, the sounds, the smells, looking at the stuff. I'll look at it like 3 or 4 times, like keep coming back to it, looking at it, thinking about why did no one open this? Why did no kid open this in 1965? What happened to this box? What's its story, right? And the rarity of that is what makes it so cool to me as an open collector. Is the wax wrapper itself is cheap, but just the artwork on that from the 60s, the 70s, even the 80s, it's cool to look at, right? The cards that could be in there, the mystery of it. And that's the appealing piece to me, at least. Whether the price point's low or high, it's just amazing to see it still exists.
The other thing I like to see, which has nothing to do with what I am bringing to the show, and this was very prominent in last year's show at Cleveland. It was very well attended. Probably not one of my best shows, but Brandon, you probably will reiterate this. I love seeing how many young kids were there collecting, buying, trading. Yeah, they're probably buying, modern shiny stuff, which isn't for me, but it was just great to see the enthusiasm and the amount of young kids that were active at the show. And I can't wait to see that again. And I know enough because I follow eBay where I can look at a modern booth and be like, oh God, that's a $25,000 card. I don't know why it's worth that much, but wow, and it's like, I think that was the highlight for me last year's show, was the attendance on how it was with the young kids being active. Even though it has nothing related to, none of that gave me a sale or I bought it. None of that had anything to do with me, nor will it at this show. But I'm looking forward to. I'm anticipating that going to be a very big crowd like that again. And I think that's just great overall for the hobby.
And when there's more women involved, I think it's a very good thing too. Seriously, because like it's just if it's just a bunch of people like us, it's like, no, let's get everybody in this tent,
Yeah.
as much as possible.
It's
That
cool
does-
seeing all the kids, the families, the dads, the moms with the kids, even if they're 8 years old, buying packs, opening them up. It's not just a bunch of people like us. There's old people my dad's age too there walking around, right? So I mean, it's everybody's there, whether it's museum, buying, selling, trading, what have you. I mean, it brings it all out, especially in Chicago.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this has gotten me excited. I don't know if you guys are losing sleep at night, but I'm getting, I'm ready.
I'm excited too. I'll be there Wednesday. Yep.
Awesome. I'll be there Wednesday too, and we will be
Yeah.
sure to stop by the Ripping Vintage Packs booth. What's your booth number for everyone that's
I should have came prepared. I've got it back on my desk there, but I don't know off the top of my
What part
head.
are you into the building? What part of the building people know the area?
Yeah, I'm in the from 2 years ago, Brandon. I'm in the same wing. I'm by the autos.
I know where that was. Yeah.
By the escalator. So it's not the main. So there's a couple entries. When you go into the entry into the building, into the main wing, which used to be the old Chicago show, now they've added the new wing where the autos are. I'm back in the same spot by the new auto. So,
Okay.
But God, I don't know why I didn't have that wrote down.
Well, yeah, they've added all these corporate areas.
There's an upstairs. There's upstairs booths, dealer booths now this year too.
Oh,
Okay.
was that there 2 years ago? I don't
No,
remember.
it was not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm curious where that is going to be. I know one person that has a booth upstairs. That's the only reason I know about it.
That's
When
crazy.
I saw your
Huh.
booth, I was thinking, what's this other part of the room over here? I didn't know this even existed back here from 3, 4, 5 years ago. So yeah, it's growing, I guess, in popularity too.
No, that's awesome. Well, okay. Well, check out the upper floor, everyone, when you go to the national, because apparently that's a thing now. So yeah, that you
Yeah.
saved me some time. But well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
both of you, for
It's getting
on
late, I
and-
know, for you guys too. So thanks for getting together on this time for 47 minutes right now. I appreciate it. Learned a lot, and getting excited, like Brandon says, it's hard to sleep tonight.
Yep. Yeah, like I always say, I don't think there's ever a bad time to talk cards. So
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week in Chicago. So
Yeah.
that'll be great.
Exactly.
We'll have
Travel
to
safe.
get some adult beverages. Thanks again.
definitely. So I will text. I will have a post on my probably in the wax page too with the booth number. But yeah, everybody stop by. The Ripping Vintage Packs booth will have a lot of unopened, but it is very nice and streamlined in 9 display cases, which means it's great for people to stop by and talk, because that's part of the enjoyment of the show, is talking with other collectors and friends that we made over the years that have common interests, because we are still a niche and it is fun to talk to people. So our booth is a great place to talk, because if we're talking, anybody that wants to look at stuff can still look at stuff, and it's a good place to catch up.
Well, and I will say, as a customer, your prices are always very fair. So I will say that too. So
Well,
everybody
yeah,
check on.
thank you. I've said this for years. If I'm bringing something to the show, I just as well not bring it home. And that is a pet peeve of mine, is when I see stuff in other places where, well, this is just not going to sell. It's like, well, why are we bringing it?
Yeah, you're taking up room. Yeah.
The chiropractor, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, my
All the
car.
boxes.
I've got a bad enough back, so I just as well be lighter when I go home.
Sounds
Excellent.
good. Well, awesome. Well, see you all next week,
Yep.
and can't wait.
Yep.
Thanks, Brandon.
guys.
Thanks, Kurt.
Absolutely. You guys
Have
have
a
a
good
good night. Take
See
care.
ya.